And here we are, Final Cut Pro, FCP TV Live. So, it's not too often that I do one of these on a Monday. Usually there's not a whole lot to report. There's been a couple of times I did one on a Monday. Ernest White says, good morning, sir. 11:10 in LA. And it's 8:10 p.m. in Italy. Good evening from the Becca Hazil, musician, Norwich, UK. Great depth of focus on that webcam. So the webcam is, I'm looking at it right now. It's on manual focus, and I have an 18-35 Sigma lens on it. That's why the background has a natural blur to it. The GH5 camera. My microphone is just right here, just barely out of sight. It's about 6 inches away from me, so it's easy to get good audio. And $7 p.m., ignore the Becca Hazel thing. That's an error, LOL. Okay, I'm not sure what that was. Nick Coleman, Television Limited. There you go. Nathan McAvoy says hello. Good afternoon from Toronto, Canada. So this morning I went on Twitter and also went on the Final Cut Pro group that we have, Final Cut Pro radio group that we have. FCPradio.com. We have a Facebook group to talk about some of these things. And I said, let's go to that page. Let's go to that actual, we'll go visit that right now. It was about, what time was it? It was about, let me see, where the heck is it? Yeah, no, about 9 o'clock Eastern time. I think that's when it was. Greetings from California. Hello, Richard. Another one. So let me see. Let me get this, bring this up. Web page. Let me see if that's it. There we go. So this morning I got up and I posted this. It says, will we see an FCP 10.5 bug fix anytime soon? I also did the same thing on Twitter. I was on Twitter and I did the same thing this morning. And about 3 hours later, we got 10.5.1 came out. So is the Final Cut Pro team watching what I'm posting? And they said, well, it's time to bring it out, I guess. Is that what happened? I don't think so. But I wonder if they thought, well, how does he know 10.5.1's coming out? First off, it's a Monday, right? It's an odd time to be releasing a Final Cut Pro update, but there it is. So one of the things was Logic came out with 10.6, and then they came out with 30 within a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 10.6.1. And I said, well, what's going on with Final Cut Pro? And of course, we're heading into the Christmas season here in the United States. As a matter of fact, here's the backyard cam, the Final Cut Pro TV Live backyard cam. You can see we have some Christmas lights in the window. This is a big picture window. It's probably about 5 feet tall, and it's custom made. When I remodeled the kitchen, I put this giant picture window in the backyard. We have one in the front as well. But there's the bird feeder. The birds are making hay of it. We Here they are. That's a woodpecker, I think, right? It is indeed some kind of a woodpecker. Nathan says, so far so good with this M1 Mini. Very impressed. Yes, I've read nothing but great reviews for the most part of the M1's performance on some things. And we'll have to see how that goes going forward. I've never owned a Mini, but if they came out with a Mini Pro, maybe I would get that instead of a MacBook. I don't know. I like having a MacBook when I go to the Creative Summit and NAB on the West Coast, but I guess I could go with the Mac Mini and a little screen, but I'd need a keyboard and stuff. I like having an actual Mac. Nathan says, been using a lot of the Emotion to VFX camera tracker, and it's impressive. The new one, I think you're talking about, or is that the 3D? It's hard to get away for me to get away from a MacBook. Yeah, I've always had a MacBook. I have one out in the other room. I just don't use it that much. And why is that? Well, here's the reason. This is my screen. This giant 34-inch 21:9 aspect ratio screen. So it's very hard to go from this down to a little 16-inch or 15-inch screen. It's very difficult. I love this giant screen. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get a bigger one. I'm going to get a 40-some inch. Put this one down in the studio. That's the reason I don't use one all the time anyway. But I like having one, especially when I go on the road. Now, NAB said they're having a live event in the fall, next October. That's what they've pre-announced. We'll have to see. 9 months away. We'll have to see how that works out. I think I'll have a MacBook regardless. We'll have to see, I might get the Mac Mini first and keep the MacBook that I have, which right now is an Intel, which is fine for what I use it for. I don't use it for that much, so. So let's see what we got here. I've got some comments, as you might expect. This has got to be one of the strangest updates for Final Cut Pro I've ever seen. And by strange, what I mean is one of the smallest. Adds an export for YouTube and Facebook share option to create a file for uploading to these sites. From what I understand, they removed the direct share to Facebook and YouTube in Final Cut. I think I saw that somewhere. So instead, they add this export for YouTube and Facebook share option to create a file for uploading to these sites, and includes stability improvements. It's the smallest update I've ever seen. However, having said that, 4 updates in 3.5 months. 4 Final Cut Pro updates in 3.5 months. That is an all-time record as far as I can recall. So, yes, the only big one was 10.4.9 back in August, the end of August. But we had 10.4.10 in September, and we had 10.5 in November, and now we have 10.5.1 in December. They're working on it. I think the feature update is going to be 10.6. I think they're going to jump out of 10.5 and go right to 10.6 for the big feature update that we're waiting on. Nathan says, yeah, the new 3D tracker. Mac Mini and Sidecar iPad Pro as a second display, but I'd have to bring a keyboard, right? I'd have to bring a keyboard. and mouse. That's the other thing I'd have to bring. So we'll have to see. I mean, if there's a dramatic difference in price and not a dramatic difference in performance, I would probably get the Mac Mini Pro. I want to jump into the M1 world, but I'm not going to go at this level. I'm going to wait till they come up with a Pro version of something. You could build on a mini Pelican case or something to travel with. Well, here's the thing, Nathan. I certainly could if I needed it for work. But when I go to NAB and the Creative Summit, I've already got equipment. I got tripods. I got all kinds of microphones and wireless things and cables. And the main thing I bring is my coffee setup. I bring a stainless steel pour-over kettle. I grind coffee ahead for about 4 or 5 days. I don't bring that. I bring an AeroPress setup. So I go in one suitcase, the carry-on suitcase, and a couple things in my carry-on bag. So I don't want to take a Pelican case. Basically, I use my iPhones, right? This is my iPhone 12 that I go with. I haven't gone anywhere with it yet because I was shooting with the 11 Pro Max. So this is my 12 Pro Max. But listen, it's kind of interesting that 10.5.1 came out on a Monday, no less. But this is the 4th update, right? That we've had in 3.5 months. The 4th update we've had in 3.5 months. So they're working. They're working. I didn't expect anything else in December, to be honest with you. Did you guys expect anything else? I didn't. Not until the next part of the year. Mac Mini plus screen plus 1984 Macintosh upgrade luggable setup. That's funny. Is it me, or do I imagine at Final Cut Pro development team guys saying, terrible mistake. We realized 10.5.1 without those other 2 features. What can we do? Think anyone will notice? LOL. So listen, there's a couple of things. Logic came out with 10.6.1. And I think there's maybe some sibling rivalry between the Pro apps, between Logic and Final Cut. Tangier says, medium or dark roast? It's a darker roast, but I blend. There's a company in Westminster, Maryland called Furnace Branch Coffee that I buy my main coffee from. They have something called Triple Threat, and it is dark coffee, and it tastes fantastic. They roast it right on the premises at the roastery itself. But I cut in a little bit of medium roast Colombian, about 20%, and I mix the beans up and I grind that. And it has it's my favorite. As a matter of fact, I have it right here. What am I doing? Show you. Now, I do drink it I make very strong coffee. My coffee is like espresso, and I do add half and half to it. Or sometimes I actually make frothy milk and add to it. But the coffee itself is very, very strong. So it's too strong for me to drink natively. We need that rumored 12-core, 16-inch stat. Now, here's the problem with the 16-inch. What's that going to cost? I mean, it's going to cost $3,500 to $4,000. The Mac Mini Pro might be $1,500, $2,000. So we'll have to see. But I probably will get the MacBook Pro. Big update today. Final Cut Pro, Big Sur, iOS. So I'm still in Catalina. I can update. I have Big Sur on my NVMe. That's funny. As of the 10.5, the YouTube share option is still in Final Cut Pro. Okay, very good. Interesting, though, they did change the Facebook to one for Prepare for Facebook. I haven't updated 10.5 yet, but I wonder what they changed. I think not them. I think it's probably Facebook. Here's the comment I was laughing at. Richard, we're British. It's so much easier. Tea bags all the way. When I was in London last time, everybody was going to the coffee shops. Yes, London has the best tea. That's when I started getting a pour over kettle. Well, last time I was in London, that's what they had. But everybody in London, they talk about tea, and that tea's fantastic. But they go to coffee shops and they drink coffee as well. So that's very interesting. Let's see what's going on in that. And is it snowing? I don't think it's snowing. No, it's not. But we did have snow. These little twinkly things are from my childhood. Back in the 1960s, we used to hang these on our Christmas tree, and they are still working. What happens is hot air goes underneath and makes them rotate. Now, I don't have any hot air underneath of there, but they're phenomenal. So here's what we had this morning here. This is our snow, a nice little snow we had. This is filmed with my iPhone 12 Pro Max, 240 frames per second, slow-mo, 1080p. This is the road back to my property, private road. Only 3 people live back there. But this is the iPhone 12 Pro Max slow-mo. Yes, they're big flakes. We weren't expecting snow today. They were expecting a big snow on Wednesday, right? But we got this one. That's what we got this morning. We weren't really expecting it. They were calling for a chance, I think, but not really. Not really. Wednesday, they're calling for snow. Couple more comments. Is Big Sur getting an update today? I think it is. Heads up, we have Big Sur on all our machines, a real mix of stuff, all with 10.5, and it seems fine. It seems fine for most of the people, but there's other people they're having problems mostly with plugins. It's not with Final Cut itself. It's plugins, audio plugins. I cannot update because the drivers for this are not compatible with Big Sur. This is my main audio interface. I will not update to Big Sur on a full-time basis until these drivers get updated. That's for sure. Now, I'm not saying it's Apple's issue. It's United Audio, which is what this is. So until they're updated, I'm not going to be updating. This is my main audio interface, right? Well, I'm telling you, it is. I'm not really asking. So he says, FCP and compressor not offered on a MacBook Pro quad-core running Catalina. Really? Maybe wait a little bit. It should be there. Yes, there's a Big Sur update today, Tangier Clark. You Americans, you can take your Starbucks and so on and take that whole coffee drinking thing home. Let me tell you something. I was not a coffee drinker until I went to Paris. Okay? I went to Paris in the 80s, and I went with a guy. Do you remember that song, Smoking in the Boys' Room? It was a big hit for Brownsville Station originally. So I knew the guitar player from Brownsville Station, Cub Coda. He had a record contract over on New Rose Records in Paris. Cub mixed my first EP that I did for Star Rhythm Records out of Boston. I flew up to Boston and he mixed it. We mixed it in an 8-hour day at the studio and it came out. And the record, Cub was going over to Paris to promote his record that was coming out on New Rose Records. And the record company guy, Dave, said, "What are you doing?" It was January or February. He said, "What are you doing in January, February?" I said, "I don't know." He goes, "Why don't you come to Paris with us?" I guess I can. So I had my passport and stuff in stock. But anyway, we got to Paris. The first night we were there, Cub and I we went to a cafe. We drank literally for hours. Cafe au lait is what I was having. Froth milk, very strong espresso. When I came back to America from Paris, I searched for good coffee like that. Couldn't find it anywhere. This was before Starbucks. There was a couple, maybe little places around that had good coffee. So ever since then, I've appreciated good coffee. I don't drink 7-Eleven coffee. I don't drink McDonald's coffee. Doesn't interest me. Dunkin' Donuts a little bit if it's fresh. It's usually pretty good. But anyway, and I like tea as well. So Nick Coleman says you can take your Starbucks and so on and take that whole coffee drinking thing home. Yes. So interesting thing, Nick. We were a tea drinking nation and we switched over to coffee drinking. Loose leaf Indian chai is far better if you're looking for something good to try. I'm always looking for something good to try. Richard, when you're next in the UK, come see us in Norwich. I most certainly will let everybody know when I'm coming to the UK again. Beautiful neighborhood. I like it out here. Are you actually using the iPhone for production content? We occasionally do on an emergency. I have to say, I've never been called out by a broadcaster. The new iPhone 11 Pro Max and the 12 Pro Max are phenomenal. First off, you can shoot 4K. I've been shooting 4K since the the iPhone 6 Pro. I don't know if it was a Max or not. So you can shoot 6K. Now you can shoot that 10-bit HDR, Dolby Vision HDR. So yes, I can. I have a GH5 that is my main camera that I shoot 10-bit or whatever with that. Always 4K though. Pixel Film Studios plugins are on a car crash on Big Sur. That serves me right for buying 29 plugins. Ah. Yes, the French are to blame for my coffee drinking. You're forgiven. Yes. But listen, when I was in Paris, I've been to London about 6 times. I love London. I would love to go now, but there's a couple of reasons. Obviously, the pandemic's a big deal. Plus, I have cats I have to take care of. We have pets we have to look after, and I just don't trust anybody to take care of them. I'm that way with beer, no Budweiser or the like. Recently got into barley tea. I love tea. English breakfast tea and Irish tea are really, really good. My issue is I would use the phone, but when you turn up to shoot with it, a client thinks you're mad. Well, bring your other camera or outfit the phone. I have moment lenses on it. I have cages on it. I have external microphones and other things that if they're concerned about the size of your gear, you can make it look bigger. But I shoot with it. It's so convenient. I shoot with it all the time, and the quality seems to be preferred. Okay, you have cats, so you're forgiven. The coffee thing, yes. We rescue cat local. We're involved with local animal rescue. There's 4 main rescues that I support locally. So there's a horse rescue that I support. There's the Carroll County Humane Society that I support. They went from a high kill shelter to almost a 95% out alive rate in a matter of 3 years. So I really support them. There's Frisky's Wildlife Rehabilitator that just takes care of abandoned and orphaned wildlife. And there's another cat rescue, Finally Home Cat Rescue, and a couple of other ones that I work with, help promote them. But we've rescued, these are all strays, we've rescued them. So what do you guys think about this Final Cut Pro 10.5.1? I mean, it's strange, isn't it? It seems like, I'm not sure, were they putting something out before Christmas or something else? Let me see if I can adjust this size. Or something else. I'm not sure. So Nick says, I've got an iPhone mounted on top of the Sony 180 and that seems to cover it. Can you believe as professionals we're now faking what we are filming with? Yeah, it's funny, but I don't really worry about it. If if they want to see a GH5 outfitted with lenses and stuff, that's not a problem. I'll bring that along. But I shoot a lot. I shoot a lot with my iPhones because they're so convenient. I just pull them out. And it does 240 frames per second slow-mo in 1080p. It does 4K, 10-bit 4K. It's great. And the lenses are nice, and I have moment lenses, and I have external audio. I don't shoot with the internal audio, so. So, what do you think about 10.5.1? Are you glad we have something? I mean, it's once again, it's two little things. It's not much, but I'm glad that the Final Cut Pro team is, taking care of this for us. Right? 4 updates, 3.5 months. 4 updates and 3. This has got to be the shortest. These features have got to be the shortest list of features I've ever seen. But I guess they wanted to get these out before Christmas. That's what I'm presuming. They wanted to get them out before Christmas. Here we are on our YouTube page. Now, also, something else here. Let me just let me pull this up. So I have this domain now, FCP TV Live, for these live streams on our YouTube page. Now also, turn that volume down. So I've not really done much with this yet, but I just started doing this. FCPTV.live. This will be one of the main places the videos are going. And you can also, of course, go to Final Cut Pro Radio, same thing. I got to turn it down again. Turn it down again. It's always going to be there. This is where the podcast is going to be. We're going to have another podcast. Look at this. Final Cut Pro 10.4, waiting on a full feature update. I didn't stop the clock when 10.5 came out because it's just a little update. 10.5.1 the same way. Is 10.5.1 out now? Yes, absolutely. 10.5.1 is out. But 3 years. Yes, Jeff, 10.5.1 is out now. It absolutely is. Like I said, I went on this morning. I was on the this morning on the Final Cut Pro Radio Facebook group. Let me pull this up here, pull this down a little bit. And I posted, will we see an FCP 10.5 bug fix anytime soon? That was this morning before it came out. I also posted on Twitter the same thing. And then about 3 hours later, there it was. There it was. But anyway, yes, 10.5.1 is out. It's not, listen, it's just the smallest little update you can see, but it's still 4 updates in 3.5 months. Now, only one of those was a big update. 10.4.9 was a big one. I think they're going to skip to 10.6 for our feature update. That's what I believe. 10.5.1 is not available in the UK-based App Store. So, listen, let me check something here. Let me check something here, everyone. Updates. So I didn't see it there. So let's go over to, let me go over to this application, App Store. So I didn't have it under updates. Okay, but if you search here for notice it says 10.5.1. I haven't updated yet. Sorry. So it's not, I didn't look in my update section, but I did just punch in here Final Cut Pro, went to Final Cut Pro, and there it is, update and 10.5.1. But once again, it's only got two little things. Add share option for YouTube and Facebook to create a file for uploading to those sites. Includes stability improvements, which of course we're always grateful for. Now, I'm not sure if the share option, I haven't updated yet, as you can see. I'm not sure if the share option creates one file for both YouTube and Facebook, or if it's creating separate, if you have separate files you can create. I'm not sure which it is, but it is there. You can see it, 10.5.1. With this has got to be the smallest list ever, but I still appreciate it. I still appreciate what the Final Cut Pro team did this before Christmas, just for, whatever. It's a nice little present to have before Christmas, right? What do you think is coming in 10.6? I tell you, one of the things I think is coming is an audio reworking. I think we're going to finally get an audio mixer, roles-based mixer, and the ability to have some kind of a whatever, roles, channel strips, whatever. That's one of the things I think are coming. And then who the heck knows? I mean, we have a list a mile long. Thomas Grove Carter says, just downloaded 10.5.1 in the UK. So it is available in the UK. Hi everyone, about this update isn't just a mere export setting added, or better, updated, because these presets were already in Final Cut Pro a long time ago. Am I missing something? I think there was an issue. I know in Ecamm Live, let me show you what I'm doing here. So here's my screen. This is Ecamm Live. This is my LG monitor, 34-inch, 21:9 aspect ratio. And Ecamm Live, which are all these little palettes you see running around everywhere, there's something changed in Facebook recently where we had trouble posting to Facebook groups. I'm wondering if somehow they've changed things in Facebook or Google or something, and Apple said, well, we're not going to do a direct export anymore. We're going to just let you have a file. I don't know for a fact, but I read somewhere, it was T. Payton said that they removed the direct upload to YouTube. So I don't know. I haven't updated yet, but now we got the files and you have to update them manually, which is fine. I think I did that anyway. I haven't updated to YouTube Direct for Final Cut for quite a while. So I think that's the difference, but I don't think it's Apple. I played out a master today. I'm pretty sure Facebook and YouTube options were there. Okay, maybe he goes, aha, you are correct. I have it under updates in the UK. There you go. Command plus R to refresh your App Store. I'm in the UK and seeing 10.5.1 here. You're totally correct. I'm updating now. I think that it amounts to is you can now create Facebook and YouTube compliant files without logging into the sites. Nice idea. There's a reason that happened, whatever the reason is. Playing back 4 streams rendered of Red 8K at 239 in better quality on iMac Pro. Who needs M chip? Well, at some point we're all going to be on M chips, right? Some point in the future. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm going to wait till 2021 till the next level comes out. I'm hoping for a decent 16-inch MacBook Pro, but I want 32 gigabytes of RAM. 16 gigabytes is just not enough for me. What am I using right now? Let me just check. So right now I'm using 35, 40 gigabytes of RAM. 40 gigabytes right now with my Mac Pro. I have 80 left, but I'm using 40, so I need more than 16. I don't care what they say the M1 chips use it differently. I understand that, but I still want more. What you just said is correct. Looks like it's now file-based. The update is also live in Germany. Excellent. Excellent. So what do you guys think about this? Let's give the Final Cut Pro team a round of applause. They did call last week, remember? They did call last week. So I'm not going to answer them. They can get the answering machine. We talked to them last week. So we appreciate that from the Final Cut Pro team. They did call last week and said this update was coming. We were live on the air when they called. I was kind of surprised, but not really surprised. Is this update available in Asia? It most certainly should be. You get all the updates, right? Definitive answer. 10.5.1 added YouTube and Facebook outputs to the share menu and creates a single file compatible with those sites. Just tried it. There you go. Single file, right. That's what I read. Can't believe they still offer products with 8 gigabytes. 16 should be the bare minimum. Well, the M1 silicon on a chip, on a system on a chip, uses memory differently. So it's probably more effective. But I still want 32 gigabytes if I'm going to get a 16-inch MacBook Pro. Are you running Big Sur yet, or are you on Catalina? I'm on Catalina. Like I said, I can't run Big Sur because the drivers for my main audio interface are not available for Big Sur yet. So I cannot update. Until these are available, that's going to be the main thing that I'm going to need. I'm not going to update until that happens for sure. Now, I do have a dual boot system. I can absolutely boot into Big Sur. Might be Apple. Better answer. Anyway, the update of Final Cut Pro is 2.9 gigabytes and compressor is 314 megabytes. Updates the same option. The weight is quite different. Catalina 10.15.7. What am I on? Catalina what? I'm not even sure what version. Yeah, 10.15.7. That's what I'm on as well. That's exactly what I'm on. Same thing. You can see we just got a dusting of snow this morning. I live in Carroll County, Maryland, which is right outside of Baltimore. It's northwest of Baltimore and due north of Washington, D.C. I'm kind of like in between the two. There's about a 10-mile difference. But we got a dusting of snow this morning. They were expecting a snow on Wednesday. They're expecting a snow on Wednesday. So we says, to be fair, Facebook and YouTube file output as a quick option is a good update for me where we are outputting in support of broadcast promos. Clients who say you just can't output 45 seconds and send it to me to promote on Facebook works for me. Good update. Yes. Well, the thing is, they didn't have to do this before Christmas, right? But they did. That's the important thing. 4 updates, 3.5 months. One was 10.4.9 was the only one that was really big. I understand. I understand that. I understand. But have you ever seen a time period when they put out 4 updates in 3.5 months before? I never have. Never. So expect, I'm going to call it 10.6. I'm just going to say 10.6. It could be 10.5 too. It could be 10.5. I don't know. But I'm going to say, please say hi to my long-suffering wife, Sarah Coleman, having to listen to this. LOL. Sarah, hi from the Final Cut Pro community. I'm glad you let Nick listen to this. Tim Whitmore here on Eastern Shore of Maryland. Just rain, lots and lots of rain. And I think we're supposed to get more rain on Wednesday if it's not snowing. But that's it. Will there be any bug problems in this new Final Cut Pro update? Well, I think the problems in 10.5 are mostly with third-party plugins. In Big Sur, see, it's a combination. It's not just one thing. If you're on Catalina, I think the problems are fine. They're not problems. If you go to Final Cut Pro 10.5 and Big Sur, I think that's where the problem. I think Big Sur introduced some of the issues, plugins not being compatible and such. So I'm not going to listen. Catalina's working fine for me. I like Big Sur when I use it, but Catalina's working fine. I don't need it. There's nothing I need it for right now. Now, if you have an M1 Mac, obviously you have no choice. You have to use Catalina. I don't. So I don't. Catalina's fine for me right now. Nick says, I have to go. First time I've listened. Totally. Great. Thank you so much. And good evening from, I'm not going to pronounce it correctly, Norwich. Pronounce it correctly. UK. Be safe, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. Because of my 2012 Mac Pro, I can only go to OS 10.15. Bought a 1 terabyte SSD and will blow out and hopefully upgrade OS and Final Cut Pro. 2012. I have a Mac Pro downstairs in my recording studio that I still use, and it's stuck at some old version of the OS. Norwich. It's like Ridge. Yes, Norwich. Every time I've been to the UK, I've loved it. Hopefully I can get back there again when things calm down with travel and other issues. Any birds back there? I think the sun, so that's looking kind of west, I think. Yeah, I think so. We have decorations on our lights. We have the lights we put up for the back neighbors. You can see them. All right, everyone. Any more comments about Final Cut Pro 10.5.1? It is out. I haven't updated yet. I'm not going to do it right now. I was actually working on a few podcasts. So with Logic Pro 10.6.1, and this came up. 10.5.1 update. I will update after we get off here. What do you think? I thank the Final Cut Pro team for working. Please get us 10.6 as soon as you can. Are there any new features in 10.5, 10.5.1 that are not in 10.4.10 that you feel are worth upgrading? First off, back up 10.4.10. Back up your application in the applications folder before you update to 10.5. You can always go back to 10.4.10. That's the main thing I suggest. Any features in 10.5? There was a couple, I can't remember. There was a couple of things. Let's go over there and look. Here, let's go there and look. Here we go. 10.5. Let me pull up the Safari. So here we go. 10.5. Improved performance, of course, accelerated machine learning, option to create a copy of your library and automatically transcode media to ProRes proxy or H.264 at various resolutions. Also export HLG, high dynamic range projects, fixes, improves, fixes, improves. So not really that much new, but once again, the next update, hopefully, I mean, it could be 10.5 too, or 10.5.5, but I'm thinking they're going to jump to 10.6, to be honest with you. That's what I think. John says, I ran the update. Everything is good. Eric Emmerich says, darn, can't change photo options to use Apple Pro RAW in the camera app. Have to use preferences. That stinks. Each Apple ProRes file on the phone is 25 megabytes. Those are stills though, right, Eric? They're just stills. They're not, ProRAW is not a video format in the new phone. So I have, for this, my phone, I have a new Moment case, and I have Moment, but they don't have the snap-in thing that goes here for the Moment lenses yet. So the cases all have a blank spot here, but you got to get a snap-in piece to go for the Moment lenses. You twist them on. They don't have that. It's not shipping yet. It's coming at the end of December, so I can't use my 12 with my Moment lenses. For sure. Not yet. Coming. It is coming. I heard that Big Sur itself has some issues, so I'm guessing that Apple will correct it soon. Will this affect Final Cut Pro 10.5? If you're updating both Big Sur and 10.5 at the same time, you're braver than I am. I would do one or the other. If you're on Catalina, I'd go to 10.5, 10.5.1, Final Cut Pro. Big Sur, I'm waiting. I can't run it yet. There's too many things, too many issues, things that don't work. Yes, stills. So Pro RAW. It's not ProRes RAW. I seen somebody said ProRes RAW. No, it's Pro RAW. Or for stills only. I think that's it, everyone. What do you think? Don't forget, if you want to subscribe, if you want to be notified, there's the YouTube channel, Richard Taylor TV. That's the best place to be notified. Click to subscribe and enable notifications. Subscribe. Like and subscribe. I make these little animations in Final Cut Pro and I bring them into Ecamm Live. YouTube.com/Richard Taylor TV. That's the best place to go. That's the best place to go to subscribe. I'm also on Facebook. You can go to the Final Cut Pro Radio. I know, no snap-in piece yet. True disappointment when I got the case, right. They sent the case and no snap-in piece, but they said at the end of December, so we're in the middle of December, should be another couple of weeks. How do you feel about the iPhone 12 video file? Let's see what appears to be some weird compression artifacts to it. Well, it is a phone. I got artifacts with my GH5 as well. And I'm seeing great stuff. I mean, I really like. Here's one. I did this morning. 240 frames per second slow-mo with my iPhone 12. Looks pretty good. You know, it does 240 frames per second slow-mo, 1080p. And the quality of the phones have been phenomenal. They have been phenomenal. Thanks, Richard Taylor, for this update live session. Thank you for stopping by. Do you make them in Final Cut or Motion? You make them in Final Cut I like Motion, but I haven't really got that good to it. Yeah, I haven't got that good using it yet. Just bookmarked and subscribed. Thank you very much. Subscribed. Yes, to be expected to some degree, but it looks very strange and unlike past footage I've used. I haven't seen that specifically with my filming. I have not seen it, but I do film. I don't do that much still photography with my phone. And beautiful should be a Christmas card. I honestly thought that was a plug-in effect you put on your footage. I made them, you mean the, I'm not sure what you mean there, Tangier. Do you mean the little animations that I did down below? That was a plug-in, but I did it in Final Cut. It was a plug-in. Almost like when you're on auto quality on YouTube. I got you. Like it's bouncing around. I haven't seen that with mine. I've been satisfied with the quality. There's an update for iOS today. Maybe that's going to fix any issues you've seen. I haven't seen that many issues. Haven't seen that many. By the way, that's my 69 Strat back there. Right there. My main guitar. I have it hot rodded with Seymour Duncan Strat pickups. Seymour Duncan's is a pickup manufacturer. All right, everyone. We are going to Final Cut Pro 10.5.1. I came out with the post this morning, 6 hours ago, and then 3 hours after that, Final Cut Pro 10.5.1 came out. But we did get a call, right? We did get a call from Apple last week it did get a call from from Apple last week telling us that the update was coming. It wasn't really from Apple, of course. The snow I meant, something like from Motion VFX. Oh, thank you. That's the iPhone. The iPhone shoots 1080p, 30 frames, 240 frames per second in 1080p. So that was definitely real. This morning I was out there, and since the phone is kind of waterproof now, I go out there in the snow, and the snow gets it all wet, and I just dry it off when I come back inside. Yes, sir. All right. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Any other questions before we sign off for today? Go back over there and look at the release notes. Not a whole lot there. It's funny because new in Final Cut Pro 10.5.1. So we got 10.5.1 on December the 14th, 10.5 on November the 12th, 10.4.10 to September the 24th, and 10.4.9 on August the 25th. Now, before that, it was a long time. It was December the 10th. So it was like 7 months, 8 months prior to that was 10.4.8. By the way, everyone, I have the ability, I haven't brought it out today because I'm using this camera. I have my old iPhone 11, using it for the overhead cam. There's a couple of things that I wanted to show. I'm going to do another presentation with some gizmos later on. But one of the things, what was I talking about? I can't remember. I'll add to it. Ernest says, "You are the best." Thanks, Ernest. I appreciate it. I try to come on as soon as there's Final Cut Pro news. Hey, look, you guys are part of the community. I like coming on and enabling the Final Cut Pro community to come on and make comments. Just talk a little bit about what's happening. We will continue to be on the air. Final Cut Pro, FCP Live, FCP TV Live. This is going to be the TV portion now. The TV. Let me pull up my big screen. Live demo. This is my 34-inch monitor. I love this thing. This is the TV production studio. This is going to be the live streams are going to be FCP TV Live. Final Cut Pro Radio is going to continue to be the podcast. We're starting our sixth year in January in 2 weeks. 6th year in January. FCPTV.live, which which is what this is, the TV's live, we will continue to come on, just like today. Final Cut Pro 10.5.1 came out. We're on the air. This is a small update, but hey, listen, tell the Final Cut Pro team that you appreciate them. I know I do. 4 updates, 3.5 months. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate stopping by. Everybody's waiting for the big update, right? The feature update. I think it's going to be 10.6. I have a feeling it's going to be 10.6. So they're going to jump to 10.6 with the feature update. This 10.5 is little catch-up things with keeping Apple Silicon and the Intel version, trying to get them in feature parity and stuff. I'm looking forward to 2021 to see what the new Mac's going to be. I might get a Mac Mini if they do the Pro version. 32 gigabytes of RAM, more than 2. I also need more than 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, 3 ports, period. I need 4. I have 8 on my Mac Pro. I need 4 Thunderbolt 3/4 ports. Thunderbolt 3 and Thunderbolt 4 are not the same. They're not the same. Yes, there are some features that you can enable in Thunderbolt 3 that are kind of more Thunderbolt 4, but they are not the same. I just edited an interview with the guy from Intel talking about it. So they're close. They seem like they're close. I mean, Thunderbolt 4 didn't do a whole lot as far as speed increases, but it raised the minimum that you're allowed to do. And Thunderbolt 4 cables and stuff. So it's going to be an interesting 2021, I think. But anyway, so MacBook Pro is 16-inch. I need 4 Thunderbolt 3/4 ports. It can be either one. I don't care. I need a 1080p camera in that MacBook Pro. Don't give me a 720p camera in 2021. That's ridiculous. My iPhone, it's got four 4K cameras in it. 1 on this side and 3 on this side. 4 4Ks. The MacBook Pro should have at least a 1080p camera. I don't stream in 720p. Sorry, I don't do it. Yes, I use a different camera, but I wouldn't use 720p for anything. But if I'm on the road, if I'm going to the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit next year and reporting for everybody, if I'm going to NAB next year and reporting, sometimes I set up my laptop in the hotel room at night and I just use that camera. I want a 1080p camera, please, Apple. Not please. I'm paying a premium price. Give me a 1080p camera. The only one that has it is the iMac Pro. All right, everyone, I'm going to head out of here. Thanks for stopping by. I think we're good to go. Once again, you can subscribe over there, youtube.com, Richard Taylor TV. That's the best place to subscribe over there. Click to subscribe, enable notifications. Subscribe. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate everybody stopping by as always. And we'll be back this week or next week. I'll talk to you all then.